Hey guys, what's going on? Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel. Got another video for you guys today. Before we get started with today's video, please make sure to drop a like down below. It definitely helps the channel out a lot, and I greatly appreciate it. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new here to receive more Dallas Cowboys content from yours truly now and in the future. And finally, hit the notification bell to be notified when I go live or post new content. So, with all that out of the way, wanted to once again revisit Trevon Diggs. How is he doing? Is he doing better than when we last talked about him? Now, when we first talked about Trevon Diggs, he wasn't really doing so hot in practice. Okay, I understand that, yes, it's practice, the training camps, situations and stuff like that, so of course it's not a real NFL game, so things will vary. However, when you look at what's been going on, he's been playing a lot better than when things first started out. He has managed to get a interception, and he's managed to do a couple pass breakups and a couple, just basically being an all-around playmaker like we would expect him to be. Now, again, I'm not saying that this, I'm not saying Trevon's going to be a Pro Bowler or All-Pro in his first season, or at all. All I'm getting at is that I feel like that the Cowboys made the right selection with him, and I think that he's ultimately going to pay dividends for us getting him at, in the second round. Now, when it comes to this whole thing, it appears that based off of reports, it shows that he recorded a pass breakup before intercepting an errant pass in Thursday's practice, which is something to keep of note, because it's not even just like the errant passes, because think about it. With our front four, and you can include the front seven as well, just the base, I would just say the base front four has been amazing. With the additions of Everson Griffin and Aldon Smith earlier in the year, I do think that ultimately that the Cowboys secondary will definitely reap rewards from it. The main reason why the Cowboys did not lead in interceptions last year was because while they did have a guy that reached double-digit sacks and Robert Quinn, the problem was there wasn't enough of a pass rush to force errant passes, to lead to turnovers. That's exactly what we should have been seeing, but we weren't able to see that because the Cowboys defense just could not. More speaking about the pass rush couldn't generate enough pressure to result in that. Now, I'm not saying that the Cowboys need to have 100 interceptions a season just for me to be satisfied. When it comes down to a situation-by-situation basis. But if the Cowboys front four can definitely create some form of a pass rush like they've been doing in practice. There was another report that came out that said that the offense was being bullied around by the defense as a whole, which was not only was it just recording sacks, but also just leading to pressures that led to errant throws, which led to interceptions, like I mentioned earlier. So, when I look at all this is definitely something to keep an eye out on, because if the Dallas Cowboys can get this thing right, where our pass rush is not a liability. Now, again, I'm not saying that everybody has to have 10-plus sacks, but it has to allow for the quarterback that we're going up against to be uncomfortable and to force those throws when, we don't get a sack. Now, another thing we should keep in mind that as Trevon Diggs has gotten better, I believe this has really more to do with Al Harris, our secondary assistant, or rather secondary coach, excuse me. So, in case you're wondering who Al Harris is the new defensive backs coach for us. And the big thing about him is that, he has the ties to Mike McCarthy, playing in Green Bay and stuff like that. In case you don't know who Al Harris is the guy that picked off Matt Hasselbeck in that wildcard game versus the Seattle Seahawks, in case you forgot who he was. But I don't think that really matters because, honestly, you guys probably don't care where he's from. All you care about is, can this guy get us back? Can he, help out our cornerbacks? Now, from what we've been seeing in practice, that's been the case. The cornerbacks are turning their heads around. They're intercepting passes, or if they're not intercepting passes, they are playing the ball, which is something that we've been wanting to see from them. To be completely honest, that's what we've been wanting to see from them. Now, I understand that many of us are like, huh, like, don't we have another defensive backs coach? We have two. We have Al Harris and then Maurice Linguist from Texas A&M. So just be aware of that. Right now we have two defensive backs coach. That's why I kind of slipped up and said, oh, he's the assistant. But again, just keep that in mind. So with that being said, though, I think that it's important because you have a guy who's a veteran cornerback that's played in the league for quite some time. I think he played in the league up until 2011. He played for a while. I mean, so there is that. But, you know, the fact of the matter being is that he can teach Trevon Diggs, you know, those new techniques or techniques that he should be learning. And not only that, you have your new guy and Maurice Linguist, who, again, from Texas A&M. I think, and a lot of people were talking about him, like, okay, this guy can maybe do something. The thing is like, we're not asking, once again, I know I say this every single video, and you probably get sick of me saying it, but I need to reinforce this. I'm not saying, like, okay, like, we shouldn't be asking for all these guys to end up being Pro Bowlers, like, okay, we need them to make these guys, like, all-world talents. No. All we're asking them to do is make them play competent football and do their job properly. Last year, that was not the case. We were running defensive schemes and packages in which teams knew what the hell we were running. And then not only that, on top of that, the cornerbacks were not doing proper technique. They were not turning their head around. And Chris Richard did a horrendous job at telling people what they had to do, which I know I did a video on Chris Richard when we first initially hired him, and I felt I was kind of excited to see what he could do. But unfortunately, he was exposed as a fraud. But with all this said, you know, with all this being said, I do think that Trevon Diggs has the ability to end up being a quality starter for us in the future, if not being one already. You know, he's basically being pegged as the Byron Jones replacement, which pretty much he is, not because he took his jersey number as well, but because, you know, we're expecting him to come in and just basically do what Byron Jones. Now, another thing we should keep in mind is that there is a possibility that Trevon Diggs will lead the team with interceptions. You know, there have been talks in, you know, circles like I've seen on YouTube, like, hey, this guy is a playmaker. I said, you know, when we first drafted, I liked, you know, us adding him, and I think that one of my bold predictions, I guess, for him is that he gets more interceptions in his first year as a rookie than Byron Jones has had his entire career in Dallas. And that's not an unreasonable thing to think. He's a playmaker. He has the ability to, you know, track the ball and get things done. I mean, I compared him to Aqib Talib. In case, you know, you don't know who he was, you know, former Broncos cornerback. And then I believe, what was it? He went to the Rams, if I remember. Basically, I've just known him for being on the Broncos for the most part, because that's, you know, he was a part of that no-fly zone. And, you know, he just has the same skill set that I see from him, and it's just, it's something we need. We need someone on our defense that can get interceptions. Now, whether it's a collective effort or a single guy, I think it's important that we get turnovers. But, again, he's been doing very well. I'm glad to hear he's progressing. And who knows, maybe he ends up being cornerback 1 at the end of the season or during the season. We don't know what's going to happen. So I don't want to go on for too long. I think you guys, you know, probably get the point of what I'm getting at. So before I head out, quick shout out and quick reminder. Tomorrow I'll be doing a live stream talking about my predictions for the final roster for the Dallas Cowboys, who I think is going to make the team, who I think is going to not make the team. Just overall, just talking about that. We'll do phone calls and stuff like that, so we'll do that tomorrow. Time-wise, I'll announce that once I kind of get my schedule in place, probably sometime in the afternoon. So there is that. With all that being said, thank you so much for reaching the end of this video. If you could, guys, please make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on more content. So, with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.